This is another sign of the times, an analysis, and a commentary. Deadly tornadoes hit the South and the Midwest United States. A frantic day and night of fast-moving tornadoes and severe thunderstorms churned across the South and the Midwest on Friday, leaving behind a number of fatalities, dozens of injuries, and countless damaged buildings in several states. The storm systems stretched from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes and were so wide that an estimated 34 million people were at risk for severe weather, said Mike Hudson of the National Weather Service Regional Office in Kansas City. At one point, the storms were coming so fast that as many as 4 million people were within 25 miles of a tornado. Although 17 states were under some kind of weather threat, the heart of the first wave of storms targeted southern Indiana, northern Alabama, and sections of Kentucky and Tennessee. A second round followed and was expected to hit parts of central Mississippi, northern Georgia, southern Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois, a part of the country that lost at least 13 people to tornadoes earlier in the week. Local officials in several states battled rain and wind into the night, trying to determine how many people might have died and assessing damage from the early spring storm. "It's pretty chaotic right now," said Sergeant Noel Howes of the Indiana State Police. He said at least 2 people had died in the tiny town of Holton in Ripley County. Like so many communities hit by the storm, power was out and trees were everywhere. School children, the authorities said, had already gone home before the storm hit. Then the gates of hell opened up, a dispatcher said. On CNN, Governor Mitch Daniels, who planned to travel to the damaged southern section of the state, said rescue workers were desperately searching through rubble in search of anyone trapped, adding, "Our people are racing the nightfall." The tiny town of Marysville, Indiana, was reported to be nearly flattened. "We've had a few tornadoes come through the area, but this is the worst one we've seen," said Major Chuck Adams of the Clark County Sheriff's Office, who has lived in the area for 30 years. The signs that the storms were serious came early. The first warning went up around 9:30 a.m. By about 1:30 p.m., at least 12 tornadoes had touched down in 3 states. One of them was Alabama, which lost 272 people in one day last April. Dozens of those fatalities came in the same rural slice of northern Alabama hit hard on Friday. Those storms last year scared the hell out of everybody. This year, everybody was ready. They were scared. They were watching weather on TV, listening to weather on the radio, calling friends and family and telling them where the tornadoes hit. Across the Midwest and the South, reports of damage, big and small, kept pouring in. The Limestone Correctional Faculty in northern Alabama took a direct hit, an apparent tornado ripping holes in the roofs of 2 dormitories where 500 inmates lived and knocking down security fences, said a spokesman for the State Department of Corrections. The prison lost power and switched to generators. No one was hurt or escaped, he said. A marina was destroyed northeast of Chattanooga, and at least 20 homes were ripped from their foundations, and dozens of people were hurt, County Emergency Services workers said. Strong winds tore through Nashville and Knoxville. Hail the size of golf balls, tennis balls, and softballs were reported in several states. At Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport, operations were halted for an hour after storm debris littered the runways, a spokeswoman said. A trampoline was found in a tree in Cleveland, Tennessee. The culprit was a warm, moist, and unseasonable air mass that reached far to the north, where it mixed with colder air, said Harold Brooks, a research meteorologist at the National Severe Storms Laboratory in Norman, Oklahoma, part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Dr. Brooks predicted day would be perhaps one of the top 5 for bad weather this year, but he cautioned, the day is still young for tornadoes. In other words, there's more to come. They also say that there has been more than twice the number of tornadoes that used to happen this time of year. The tornadoes have also been stronger and much more severe. May the Lord rest their souls. More extreme weather is a part of the end of times as we know them, transition days, which is a time of extraordinary happenings, changes, and events, because it's about what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations. And that should be a very important question to ask. Matthew chapter 24, verse 2. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? 4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no human deceive you. 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Mark chapter 13, verse 18. And pray ye that your flight be not in the winter. 19. For in those days shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation which God created unto this time, neither shall be. 20. And except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he has chosen, he has shortened the days. Yes, it's time for the manifestation of prophecy, and all these are more signs.